words of Madison were able to influence Mason to commit to Madison, then walk me through why your words were not able to influence Mason to commit to you, Meg. To bennystake. I'm your girl Benny, and listen, my apologies. Last week I wasn't able to give you guys any videos as we've promised, but we're gonna get right into it. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you always know when I upload. Your girl is on a journey to reach 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and the goal is to roll out 2 videos, okay, once a week, one review and one, thoughts of the week. But last week I didn't put out any videos because if you've seen on my social media, I had a set, right, to do stand-up comedy. The man of God, Kev on Stage, my fave, he invited me to go ahead and perform. This was, this was an invite that I knew of since like last year, right? So definitely subscribe, but we're gonna get right into this video, right? So this was an invite that I knew of since like last year, right? Like all the way since last year. I've been preparing for it. I've been doing the things. However, come a period, I still was nervous, right? Like don't get it twisted. It's some things that, like, you have just like the first time of everything, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I know I'm talented, right? Like, I'm beginning to walk into, the rooms and the doors that God is opening up for me, right? And I'm aware that I'm talented. However, come a period, it's one thing to have people comment, right? Like how much they find you funny. It's one thing for them to do that, but it's like a whole nother thing, right? For you to be on stage and to get like that live response from people. That's something I've never experienced, right? Like, yeah, I always come and talk about how much, my videos make y'all laugh, the way I talk make y'all laugh, and all of the things. But because I don't actually see y'all laughing, as far as I'm concerned, y'all might as well be giving me them pity LOLs, right? Like, you know how the girlies be, just to, to avoid sounding rude on the message, they're gonna do like laughing emoji, I'm good, laughing emoji, how you doing, laughing emoji, can we hang out, laughing emoji, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, the laughing emojis and the LOLs that I see in a lot of my comments, it always feels like it's not real. So even when you guys see like, dang, like, your videos, they keep me laughing and all the things, it doesn't feel real because I've never actually seen y'all laugh, right? So my biggest anxiety was very much like, all the people of God gonna laugh, right? And this was my first time ever. Like, I'm talking about ever. I've never done, like an open mic. I've never done any of these things. So like the set that I prepared, I didn't even tell nobody. Like, I didn't, my husband didn't hear about it. My sister didn't hear about it. Like, nobody that was there knew what the set was gonna be like. It just was me the whole time. So the way the anxiety was bubbling up on the inside of me, baby, I was like, Lord, please send your son, send the angel, send Gabriel, send Eve down here because she done messed up some things. Send her down here to help me out. Somebody, send somebody, the Son of God for the second time. Send somebody to go ahead and align my spine so that I can go ahead and do this for the people of God. I was so very nervous, very, very nervous. And so that's why, like, last week, I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm going to try to focus as much as possible. I didn't want to distract myself. I didn't want to, like, out here doing 75 different things. Like, I didn't want to do that. Even, like, with my cleaning business, I kept it very cute, very mindful. I just was, like, prepping. And so I don't even encourage you to do this. If you have, if you're trying to try out for, like, stand-up comedy, do an open mic. Where I'm at, there wasn't any opportunities to do so. And I didn't get a chance to actually try this anywhere else. So I was literally going up there with the strength and the faith of God and just like trusting my own voice on like, I think this is funny and I think I'm gonna say it funny and people are gonna laugh. It just was giving a concept of a plane. Like I went in there with the concept of a plane, and yeah, the people got laughed. People actually laughed. So much so that when I posted it on like my social, people were like, dang, like we couldn't tell you were nervous. My sister could tell I was nervous. So like my husband could tell I was nervous because they know me very like, you know, intimately, like they know me. So they can tell like even with my body movements, like there are certain things that I'll do when I'm nervous. So only they picked it up. But the rest of the audience couldn't tell I was nervous. The show went well. I was supposed to do a set for like 5 minutes, but what I wrote, you know, and the presentation of it, I believe it ended up being like maybe 8 or 9, closer to like 10 minutes, which, you know, I was very proud, y'all. I was very, very proud. I'm not gonna lie, this has to be by far the scariest thing I've ever done. Like hands down. I've performed in front of people, like I've sang at church, I've sang, you know, at conferences, like I've sang, like I've done, you know, I've stood in front of people to sing, but like singing to me is not as terrifying as this because I've been singing for a good minute, you know, like, you know, I be dropping my notes sometimes, but like singing to me is not like a problem, right? Like singing is not a problem to me. So to do this was literally one of the scariest things that I've ever done, but it was also one of the most exhilarating. Like I felt so much alive. And it felt like a full circle moment almost, right? Like everyone said he's somebody that I've been following. I admire him, the whole, you know, his whole empire, like everything he's built, like very, very, very awesome. I got to meet him and I got to meet Mrs. Kev on stage because the only other person I'm more a fan of is Mrs. Kev on stage. Like, Kev is great, don't get me wrong, Kev is funny, but like Mrs. Kev on stage, she's like very smart. She's definitely helped me out a lot, like, you know, if y'all are like the stage crew, like y'all remember the Love Hour podcast, yes, Melissa is like, yeah, so like seeing her, I hope they didn't think I was weird because I just was like, oh my gosh, like this is actually crazy. They were very sweet, gave me the biggest hug. It just was like really nice. We took a picture together. But like to be invited by Kev, somebody that I admire and look up to in so many ways, like as a content creator, the ways in which Kev is consistent, the ways in which Kev rides for Black people, the ways in which just like Kev shows up time and time and time again for his craft, but also for his community, that is something that I've always admired. So to be invited by him and then to be presented by him.
Connecticut, Bridgeport, Connecticut. CT, show some love. Start clapping right now. You know, from the internet, she's got over 1 million followers. Start clapping right now. Show some love for bennystake.
Yeah, I just took a break. Okay. And now it's back to
You can give it up for me too. I know I look good, okay? I look good. You know, we gotta be mindful with it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, like, I damn near cried. Like, I damn near wanted to cry. That's just like how crazy this whole experience was. And, you know, I'm gonna do this. I've said this on my Instagram. I said this on like my TikTok and whatever, but we're gonna do this. Like the times we playing like timid and playing shy is over. Like we're gonna do this journey together, and someday I'm gonna have all the specials. Every special. I am very special. I'm a child of God. I am special. I'm set apart. Okay? I'm gonna perfect my craft. I'm gonna work on my stage presence. I'm gonna work on, you know, crowd engagement. I'm gonna work on owning the room, right? Because preparation is key. If I ever, you know, get the opportunity, like I want to be ready, and I also don't want to rush myself, right? Like there's a lot of people that you see take on, you know, comedy, and they took comedy because they've had like a couple funny videos online, right? Like you've had a couple videos go viral online and that's going straight up to your head. Like, that's not the kind of person that I am. I definitely value my audience. I definitely value, you know, my craft. And so before I put myself out there, not only will I solidify a set, I will definitely solidify my set, make sure that it's going to be as funny as you guys say I be to y'all, right? Like, I want to make sure that the set is that funny, but like the presentation of it is also funny. I want to make sure that the atmosphere is like very inviting, very just like we're cool, we're chilling. And I want to make sure that, you know, I'm able to step into the room and own the room, right? Like, to give you that great experience. And that cannot happen prematurely. So that's going to take preparation. That's going to take me, you know, working on my craft, right? I don't want to do nothing prematurely. Just because you have 1 million and some followers doesn't necessarily mean that you know what it takes, right? Like, to become a stand-up comic, right? This experience definitely solidified that I do have what it takes to be a stand-up comic, right? Because people laughed. My engagement was there. It just was amazing for the first time. But I want to be so good that you could put me any which way. I don't know if you guys remember Cat Williams. He did an interview, I think, with like Club Shay Shay, and he spoke about how like one of the things that like really made him great was the fact that he was able to kill it at a church, go to a comedy club, kill it among the blacks, kill it among the Hispanics, amongst the Asians, amongst, you know, the whites, and just like different groups of people, be able to kill it to the point where like when you gather all these groups together, everybody laughing. That's what I want, right? Like, and that's gonna take preparation, that's gonna take time, and I'm gonna be working. I have been working, I have things written down, but it's like, you know, preparing it, you know, testing it out, putting it out, giving myself feedback, perfecting the set, and doing all that stuff. And once we're done, baby, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. So I was about to say forgive me, but I'm not gonna ask for forgiveness for this, because what I did was great and I'm proud of myself. So I'm gonna sit in this and y'all gonna listen to me talk about this. And if you don't want to, you can go ahead and go with God. But yeah, so yesterday I was supposed to record yesterday, but I found myself wanting to just like rest. I found myself wanting to rest in the moment and rest in like what had actually happened, right? Like rest. I found myself wanting to rest, not just, you know, physically because I was tired. I was so anxious that, you know, I hadn't slept for like 2 days straight. Like I was very much like tired. But also I just wanted to rest in the fact like, dang, like you did this, like you really conquered this, like you really, really did this. And I didn't want to rush myself on something like, what's next, because that's typically my natural disposition. Like something great will happen, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was great. And like next thing, like, no. We're going to sit in this. We're going to, you know, we're going to not dwell to the point where like we're just like sitting in like the one-time glory of things, but we are definitely going to sit in the joy of this. Like, you did that. Like, I really did. What I did was not easy. So much so that because I went with my husband, my sister, and, you know, there was like a lot of people and stuff. And so I was nervous for sure. But like after the show, my husband and my sister were like, as soon as we went to sit there, because they gave them like a, you know, they reserved like seats for them as well. But they were like, as soon as we went to sit and we saw how many people were there, like they began to be nervous for me, right? So this was no easy feat. This was like, I really did this, and so I'm very proud. It's not something that any old body can do. My sister was like, if you put me up there, I was gonna pass out. It was a lot. But I walked in there, I was confident, you know, I was crying on the inside, right? Like I'm talking about turmoil. I was having a whole lot of things, a whole lot of thoughts going on. But like I walked in there like, it's time, we just gonna do this. And so that was no easy feat. I just wanna sit in that and be proud of myself and really take the time to acknowledge it. This is me acknowledging it. We're gonna talk about the things and we're gonna praise God, because God is good. Okay, God is so good. All right, so let's just get into it. We're gonna be talking about all the last, shenanigans that happened with like Love is Blind season 8. We're just gonna try to wrap it up because this season was just like very tiring, and I feel like I gave you my best. I gave enough reviews of this, and I don't want to drag this any longer. So like whatever I wrote out last week, I just wanted to combine it together and just like finish it out. So we had the episode where the biggest thing that essentially happened was Dave, right? Like Dave being the one to actually break things off with Lauren. And my sister at this point, like, I understand, being very like nice and having the decorum with it. But like at a certain point, like I need for you to go ahead and align your spine and just like move accordingly, right? Like ain't no need for that baby to have been the one to still be the one to break up with you. Like I need for you to understand that self-esteem got to be of your own, right? Like you got to go ahead and esteem yourself. Cat Williams been told us the self-esteem is your own. Like esteem yourself and get the hell up out of there. Okay, gather your belongings, gather what you need, and get the hell up out of there because it was so embarrassing. Right, like I was embarrassed watching you watch yourself be broken up with by the unmarketable tomato that is Dave. Like you really sat through that. Like that was just like ridiculous to me. And then on top of that, you still had the nerve to go ahead and introduce this man to your mother and your father off camera. Girl. Desperation as a shade, not a good match. Not a good match because the undertone is always going to give ashy. The undertone is always going to give a peak Misha. As soon as you decide to go ahead and match yourself with desperation, it ain't going to come out looking right. Ain't no lighting that's going to ever justify. Okay? Ain't no lighting that's going to ever justify you sitting through some ashy behavior. You had this man meet your mother and your father off camera the whole time. He said they're gaslighting and manipulating you, which we're going to get into. Because at the reunion, you don't say, I don't think that this baby is a manipulator or a gaslighter. I have some thoughts on that. But like you really said through, allow this man to disrespect you consistently and then got the nerve to still introduce him to your mother? Ma'am. Lauren.
I would be like, all right, I'll come back later.
Yeah.
But instead we have the conversation.
Creates that, I don't want to say urgency, but that need to work something out.
Yeah. On a personal level, I've grown more in the last month than I have in like 32 years. It's been like insane. That's something we've communicated to each other throughout all this. Is like, we don't have to be here.
Yeah.
Like, no one's forcing us to still be here.
Right.
Like, we can bail at any moment.
Yeah.
But like, we want to be here.
And it's like, are you catching how he paints himself to be this great person? Because it's like, oh, in the past, I would have just like bailed. But like right here, we having the conversations. No, you're not having the conversations because conversations entails you, bringing your ears and your comprehension along, right? Conversation with your partner entails having your ears present, your comprehension present, your senses present, and a little bit of empathy present as well. That's what's going to take the communication and relationship to the next level. You had neither. Everything she said, you discredited. You were valuing the friends and the so-called guy who had a little, entanglement with her in the past. You had that. That's the only thing you put to value. That's the only thing. So you wasn't communicating. And then to say like, oh, in the past, I would have left. That's what you did. Right? Because like, remember in the other scene, you did leave. And not only did you leave, the next day you came home and this baby was just sitting there like, yeah, I totally understand. Lauren! It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing watching y'all, have just like, broken and loose spine. It's embarrassing. As a woman, it's upsetting me and my homegirls. No. And then the more the mother kept talking, the more it became clear to me, like, okay, so this, you know, lack of confidence, this goody two shoes of a behavior, she gets it from her mother, because the mother didn't really ask no nothing. The mother didn't really stand and say no nothing. The most we will find out about later was that the dad was the one to be like, okay, so what is it that I hear with you and my daughter, and you crucifying her for the people of God? I'm talking about crucify, lay behind, doesn't like, what is it I'm hearing? It took the dad to do that. So not only is your daughter missing her spine, your own is crooked too. And that's a problem. That is a problem. It's important for parents to be supportive. Don't get me wrong. Support your kids, but also allow them to stand. Let them know that they need to stand. It's okay. Like, it can't just be important for us to marry our daughters, like, you know, by any means necessary. Like, it can't just be that. We have to actually test the caliber of these men. The mother said nothing for real. Makes sense why Lauren is like that. Lauren has not done nothing for real. The most she has on her wrist is like, oh, what? F the patriarchy. This was the time. This was the time for you to go ahead and act out what your tattoo said. This was the time. It was embarrassing. Comment down below and let me know, but that was embarrassing. And eventually, it was him that breaks things off with her. And there's no world in which Dave should have been the one breaking things off with Lauren. There's literally no world in which that's happening. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm very, you know, people always say I'm stubborn. Maybe I'm just stubborn, but to me, it's like there's a certain level of just like self-respect. You could call it pride, you could call it whatever, but to me, there's a certain level of just like, I respect at a certain point, like, I got to respect myself. Like, at a certain point, like, I got to respect myself. Like, now, I will be alone before I will let anybody's dusty son tootsie roll and gyrate on me like that. Absolutely not. Self-esteem. We got to have it. Yeah, now?
Our families are Midwest people. Like, this doesn't happen to people like us. And then to expect our families to, like, be so fine with it. Like, I totally get it.
Me and Lauren, we're just very normal.
Yeah.
Very normal people.
Where's your sister scared out for you?
She's just being a protective older sister, and like, she was terrified I was gonna end up with some girl that was just on there to be famous, or like some girl that was just in it for the wrong reasons and making me look bad. Like, so she had all the right concerns, and like, it all came from like a very lovable place.
So does she know Lauren's one of the most boring people that, or should I
haven't told her that yet. Maybe I should tell her that
Tell her
you're
I'm
super
really
boring.
boring. Not fun at all.
She's not cute. Super boring.
Never mind.
I hate being around her.
Friends are gonna survive this?
Yeah.
I wanted to play that part for y'all so that you guys can see again some of the ways that this man is manipulative, some of the ways in which this man is disrespectful. But he says just enough, and he pretends to say things under the guise of he's just like playing. Because they're talking about how, like, you know, Lauren is just, again, offering grace. You know, our families, they're not really used to these things. Our family, they can't really, like, comprehend and understand the things. Like, we're Midwestern. Like, we don't really be doing the TVs and all the dramas and the hullabaloo. So, like, I get it. I'm showing, like, our family's grace, right? This is another way where this man has gaslit her to normalize why the sister won't meet her, why the friends won't meet her, why he won't put any efforts to ensure that the sister and the friends come to meet with her. This is how he's gaslighting her to the point where she's like, oh, you know, we're just like Midwestern people and our families, like, I understand the things and the things. Okay, your mama Midwestern too. Why is she sitting there? Your daddy Midwestern too. Why he decide to meet Dave even off camera? Because where there's a will, there's a way, right? Like, if he wanted to, he would have. He would have. But you've been so gassy that you're sitting over here defending. I'm talking about defender of the pride. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to lean on my understanding. I'm trying to understand the things that need to be understandable for the understanding of the people of God. But mind you, this is the conversation that we're talking about. And the mama throws in a joke like, oh, you know, if your sister's worried about, you know, Lauren wanting to be like a famous, you know, person off of this like show, does she know that Lauren is really like, you know, she's just like a boring, very, you know, regular schmegular girl that just wants like a regular schmegular life. That's what the mama meant. But here comes Dave. Here comes the man that you done introduce your mama to. This is we're going to be like, oh, maybe I should tell my sister that Lauren is very boring. She ain't even cute. I don't even like being around her. Why are we here? Walk me through how we got here. Where is the route? Where is the route that led to us being to Lauren ain't even cute? I don't even like being around her. How did we get there? Mama talking about, oh, you know, my daughter is boring. She's just like plain, very regular schmegular. She was a teacher for the love of God. It ain't giving no, you know, influencer. I'm trying to link the things in the bio for the people of God. It ain't giving that. Very simple girl, very plain, very just like we do what we got to do and we leave it up to God. That's the energy that Lauren been giving the whole time. Why are you talking about she ain't cute? I don't even like her like that, like that. I don't even want to be around her. Y'all could claim that Benny be trying to do the most, Benny be trying to calculate, Benny be trying to reach and do the things. Okay, cool. But like walk me through how we got here. This the same man that in the past was like, oh, you 30, so you're no longer attractive. Came out of the pods. I'm pretty sure this baby don't find you attractive. Because if he did, perhaps he would understand why you had an entanglement with August right before you done left for the show. He don't like your daughter. Being told her. Being found a way to throw jabs at her the whole time. Being told, like I have my work. It's right here. I calculated. Walk me through why. We're talking about her being boring, but like, no, I'm going to tell her she ain't even cute. I don't even like being around her. And Lauren is just sitting there like, Lauren. Comment down below and let me know if I'm reaching, because y'all know I'm 5'2" on a good day. I be trying to get taller, so perhaps I just be reaching. But like, walk me through why you had to say that baby ain't even cute and you don't even like being around her. If that ain't the truth. If that ain't the truth that you're trying to cover up and go ahead and protect and serve it as a joke. I don't care what nobody says. But the mama don't rebuttal. Lauren don't rebuttal, because as I'm looking around, the spines, it ain't even crooked at this point. The spine is missing. Is it? It's not here. Perhaps in Yemen. Perhaps Bangladesh. Okay? Perhaps Bangladesh. Well, what is that place? The Bermuda Triangle. We should go ahead and check that, because it wasn't on my screen. I looked for it. We've looked. Not here either. Because typically the spines in this household align. Ain't no rebuttal, ain't no nothing. He just called your baby ugly. He just said he don't even want to be around your baby. But he says just enough. That's what manipulators do. They say just enough. They gaslight you just enough. Until you guys will sit over here like, trying to find your bearing. No. I don't know if this is just like a commitment to see your daughter be married. Like, I don't know what this was. But like, this baby gave nothing and a half. If your daughter couldn't see because she was so invested and in love blindly on my screen, what about you as the mother? Why you had to go ahead and get your Bartimaeus on? At the very least, get your Stevie Wonder on. That baby can see a little bit. He blind, but like he can see a little bit. Like, a little bit on the side. No. Comment down below and let me know. It didn't give.
Get our phones back. I get millions of messages and they're telling me like, why are you engaged to this girl that basically had a boyfriend going into the experiment?
Again, not a boyfriend. An entanglement with August that carried itself out a little too long. An entanglement with August, which again is her body. She's well entitled to decide who gonna service her canal at any given point.
Everybody in my circle, all of my close friends and family, aka my sister, heard about this guy. That's where, I mean, I go back to that and I'm just like, did she just think she was gonna come back and not face this? Because you admitted you never ended it and you should have ended it.
That's not what I said.
Oh, yes, you did.
I said there was not a lack of closure, in my opinion.
I do not understand how you can't just be like, I fucked up, I was seeing this guy. I know, but like, you just didn't say it right away.
Now I'm getting frustrated because like on Sunday you literally said, I don't give a shit about like who you hooked up with before this, and now we're coming back to it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because we're coming back to it because of the way your dad approached me, saying that he thought I was there just to like kind of see what happens. And you were fully ready for this engagement, get married in, 6 weeks type deal.
This baby has been beat down so bad. Do you see how much she's having to calculate? Well, it wasn't this, it was this. Oh, well, you didn't apologize. Well, I did. But like, you didn't apologize right away. You see how this man, I don't know why in our minds we have the idea that for somebody to be manipulative, they have to be like, very straightforward and abusive, just like right then and there, like very like verbatim, like word for word. Like, I don't know why we have it in our minds for somebody to be, emotionally beating us down, that they have to, I don't know, like pull some tricks up their sleeve. Like, why is this not being recognized as manipulation? Because again, in the reunion, this baby gonna be like, oh no, it wasn't that, you're not a bad person. I just feel like, things could have just been different given that there were just like a lot of things. Basically, again, letting this man have a pass for treating you like you are Mary Magdalene. Okay? Stoning you for the people of God. You took the punches. You took it. It's okay. After all this, then he goes from like, oh, it was about the guy, and then it goes from like, well, your dad, I met with him, and then your dad was talking, shit about my family, and then your dad, he just, at no point was he wrong. At no point were his family and his friends wrong. Everything was Lauren. Lauren was to be blamed for everything. Everything was her fault. He wouldn't think so unless you made him believe that you was going to take accountability for things that you didn't have to be accountable for. You said that having to explain yourself and explain your canal activities. That ain't right. You a grown woman. You ain't knew him. You wasn't committed to him. So whatever you did with your coochie, that's between you and God. Finally, some balls in the family, Lauren. Finally, some balls in the family. Your dad with the spine to actually call this for what it is. You're here to look for some mess. You're not here to find no love. You clearly have not found the love in my daughter, because otherwise we wouldn't be here tootsie rolling and gyrating. And you see what happens when somebody stands up to him?
Does he know the whole story?
He does.
Because it didn't really seem like they fully understood. He was like, I thought Lauren was very ready for an engagement when she left. Sounds like you weren't. And I was like, okay, she was the one that kind of had a relationship going into it. I did not.
This is something that like you need to work through, and like you're not ready to choose someone else and like be a team member with them.
Yes,
because
I
if
am.
you were, then like
Yes,
this
I
would have
am.
been minuscule shit.
You have no reason to say that to me. Putting it on me that I'm not ready for a teammate. Sound like your dad right now.
She should sound like her dad. Because the dad has balls. That's a concept that you're not familiar with, because currently it's your friends holding on to your balls, right? Like while you lay on your sister's bosom. Right? Like it's very easy to not comprehend why people's balls can be attached to them and operate from a place of having their balls attached to them. It's very hard for you to comprehend because you've never had to do that, Dave. You see all the things I could have been saying to Dave, like, I'm not saying I want a different life, right? Like, don't get me wrong. But, like, I imagine a lot of these scenarios, like, I wish God would place me in scenarios where I have to explain to the people of God about the things that they're doing. Right? Like, these are the things that I will say. These are the things that Dave needed to hear. Because you see how he trying to gaslight her like, oh, you have no right to say that to me. Yes, she does. Why not? If you're going to crucify, I'm going to crucify. Crucifixion. Roman crucifixion. Side to side. After all this, he breaks up with her. I'm not even going to play the rest of it because it's just kind of like, Lauren, beautiful gowns, because she walks outside, she pacing back and forth, how frustrated she was. She really wanted to make it work. On what ground? What foundation you feel like you had to go ahead and make this work? On what ground? And so they break up, and then you had the other couples. Devin signs the prenup. The other ones were doing well. Then you had Joey and Monica, who end up revealing that, you know, the intimacy hasn't really been giving. They've been getting more of like a friendship vibe. And then we get to the weddings and nobody want to marry nobody. And I'm like, why did y'all sign up on my screen to find love blindly? But before that, actually, they had like this meetup with like where everybody came. And finally, a woman with a backbone. You have Molly, I'm talking about standing firm. Molly stood up for Lauren more than Lauren, and Lauren's mama stood up for Lauren. Read that baby fulfilled. And come to find out, this baby is taking selfies like this for the people of God online. The unmarketable tomato of a Dave, he taking pictures like this for the people of God. That's who, Lauren, that's who you wanted to be with. Like, at no point did you... At no point, as soon as you saw those selfies, at no point did it maybe give you doubt in your mind. You had Lauren who was there like, you know, I'm kind of nervous. It just was crazy. He never gave us a chance, this, that, and the third. And then you have Molly who stood up for her and so I'm like, yeah, no. Dave, you didn't want to be with her. You try to play with her. You're not serious. Your friends are fake and they're full of it. Read him for filth. Perhaps not the way I would have did it, but still there was a reading, right? Like it was giving, you know, we reading at least ABC. Right? Like it wasn't no college level type kind of reading, but it was a reading nonetheless. And it was refreshing to see. And lo and behold, beholding the lows, because I guess he noticed that maybe, you know, Molly wasn't giving him no time of day. Molly came in on something like, you a hoe. Okay? Your sister probably a hoe. Your friends, hoes. Everybody in your family, everybody in your corner, they need to go ahead and kick rocks. Because you know one thing about white people, they want somebody to kick some rocks. Okay? One thing about white people, they're going to send you to kick some rocks. She cleared him in a way that a Susan B. Anthony could. She did. And I was like, yes. Spine aligned. Spine in place. And so as soon as he calculated and noticed that, oh, dang, like, Molly really not the one. She not really playing those games like that. Why this baby was gonna go ahead and tootsie roll and gyrate, trying to get Lauren like, oh, you know, I'm kind of like sorry. I think it's like my ego and my pride. And I'm like, pause. David, did your sister's breast run out of milk? Are you tired of laying on her bosom? Are you tired of sucking on her supple nipples? Are you tired? Are you tired? Did your friends release the grip on your ball sacks? What's going on, Dave? And then even then, he still tries to gaslight her, talking about whole like, oh, you know, I just like I miss you, and like, you know, you didn't even text me. And she was like, why I had to text you? I already gave 155% into the relationship when you gave nothing and a half. Kick rocks, Dave. And she was just kind of like, yeah, no. Still in a very kind, in a very Lauren type kind of way. Not how I would have done it, right? Like, because with me, we will go low. You want to be deep in my coochie? I will be deep in your ball sack. You and your entire lineage, I will be deep in there, cussing you out once at a time. I will pass out the cussing like it's an offering basket, one at a time. One by one. You want to worry about my canal? I'm going to deconstruct your own ball sack and explain to you why you is a hoe. Okay? So that whole thing dissolved, and then you had Alex and Mason and what's her name? What's the other girl's name? Alien, sexy alien Meg. That baby done came, and she and Mason, they now together. And I'm like, girl. One thing about spiritual girlies, like at least the spiritual girlies that I've been knowing, they tend to not be so relationship hungry. Right? Like they tend to not be pick-me-shas. They tend to be like, fuck these dudes. That's the kind of energy they tend to have. So Meg, which universe is you talking to that you cannot align yourself and find yourself some self-respect to now want to be a pick-me-sha? Because she done rolled in there with Mason on something like, oh, we got the, and I'm like, girl, beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns. Okay, we need more retreat. You need to go ahead and be outside in the sun, barefoot. Connect with the nature and leave this man alone. He ain't picked you. He ain't want you. Why are we together? Why are we together right now, Meg? Ain't nobody else want to have sushi with you and have sex on the floor. Nobody else. It had to be Mason. My sister. The universe is not pleased. The tree is disappointed. Okay, your yoga instructor disappointed. Okay? Even the non-dairy products down there at Trader Joe's disappointed. They don't want to do with this. They don't want to deal with this girl. Like, no. It's all right. It's all right. We ain't got to be this desperate. We ain't got to. Mason, this baby cannot enunciate to save his life. That Mason, after he ain't picture, you gonna come out here. We done did our own reveal for the revelation of the revealed of the people of God. And I'm like, Meg. And so kind of find out, Madison then decided to go ahead and date, what's his name? Alex after the pod. And I'm like, Madison, I've done tried my best. I done tried. The people of God been dragging you. I disagree because I think people are wrong. I don't think you manipulated nobody. However, comma period, really, you still decided to go ahead and meet up with Alex. Defender of Mason, you decided to still meet up with him, Madison. Madison. Overall, I was embarrassed. I just was embarrassed for the people of God. It didn't really give. It didn't give. And then we get to the wedding, don't nobody want to marry nobody. You had Sarah who was like, you know, she said no at the altar. And her reasoning was like, oh, I just felt like our values were different. He didn't really have nothing to say about Black Lives Matter. But girl, I've been told you that. What was the reason in saying yes to his proposal when that baby ain't had no thoughts on Black Lives Matter? Right? George Floyd, rest his soul. The tragedy happened in your hometown, home states. That baby still ain't new. And then you still said yes. On what ground? She gonna say, I just feel like we're just not aligned. He never really initiated. Like, yes, that was consistent in the past. So what was the reason in taking him out of the pot? Say yes to the proposal, only for you to find out that that baby still ain't had no thoughts. He ain't had no actions. He ain't had no nothing and a half when it came to equality and justice for the people of God. He ain't do nothing. Everything he don't know. He don't know. He don't know. How your church feel about LGBTQ? I don't know. Your sister gay. He can't even say gay. People of that community, the people of that, my brother, it's okay, you could say gay. You know yourself become gay if you say gay. The people of that community, you mean gay people, you mean lesbians. Why even say yes to his proposal? That pissed me off, and I'm just kind of like, get these people off my screen. All of them. All these people off my screen. And so then you have Monica, who also said no at the altar, and I respected her because she was like, I want somebody that's gonna want me. And while Joey was great, and while Joey was loving, and while Joey was like, you know, cool or whatever towards her, that baby never showed her love. As a viewer, comment down below, did y'all see anything? Because I never saw them be like very lovey-lovey and do a whole lot, right? Like I always saw them just like laughing. I saw them like engage really well. I saw them, you know, have almost like a friendship to them, which I didn't read as in like because they had like that little, you know, safety and that little connection of like friendship that there wasn't anything romantic going on, right? Like I didn't gather that, because for me, every relationship that I feel like maybe goes the test of time, there's an element of like friendship. Like this is my person, I can be comfortable and I can be vulnerable around them, right? There's an element of friendship that's like appreciated. So while I saw that, I was like, okay, you know, they're good to go. But apparently that's all it was. There was no romantic side, right? There was no side where it felt like, oh, you know, we lovey-dovey, we just kind of like, you know, we like being around each other. It wasn't giving that, which again, I'm like, okay, so when you guys were doing the photo shoot, like, you know, as touchy-feely as you guys were, was that just for like the photos? Like, was that just for like the camera and that wasn't the, you know, necessarily what was going on? Because even the jealous sister, when she took the picture, she was like, oh, you know, I kind of see like, you know, how into each other they are. So I was like, okay, so if Madame Jealousy, you know, gonna see, so I guess like they're good. But apparently they were not. They lacked, you know, the touch and the connection. They didn't really tell each other they loved each other. It wasn't giving. And so at the altar, instead of her to be a pick-me, she was like, you know what, no, I'm not feeling like, you know, we're really there. I cannot say yes right now. She said no. He agreed. It wasn't no nothing, no weird. But then later he go talk about like, oh, the reason why he done said, you know, the reason why he done felt like there wasn't really there is because of Monica's sis. And I'm like, here y'all go with the reaching again. If you want to be with somebody, your family or their family not going to stand in the way of that. Because Monica still chose you despite how her sister felt. She still chose you. So for you to sit over here and ride on the sister. Now, mind you, I still maintain that sister's jealous. Because to sit over here and talk about like, oh, I knew it was going to be you that's going to get married first. Like, it should have been me. Like, nah. That's bitter leaf. That one is bitter leaf. That one is a Congo bololo. That one is a Congo, in your heart, Congo bololo. In your heart, it's bitter leaf. Congo bololo. I still maintain that, however come a period, to use the sister as the reason why you couldn't romantically, you know, be involved with Monica is the kind of reaching that, like, I hope the more you reach, the more you fall. I really hope the higher you keep reaching, the more you fall. That's just what I hope. Because that gave nothing and a half. That's not a reason. That was a cop-out. If you didn't find her attractive and you felt like it was just like more friendship, that's cool. But like, don't use her jealous, her bitter leaf sister as a reason as to why y'all were not able to work out. That was not the reason, because Monica, regardless of how her sister felt, she still wanted to be with you. You ain't want to be with her, which is cool. Then we get to, what's her name? We get to Virginia and Devin, and the two of them, you know, Devin gonna say yes, she gonna say no. Comment down below, let me know. Was it just like nerves, or was like Monica very much just like, I don't want to say reserved, but like she was like very closed off, like very closed off in the makeup room, like where they were getting ready. Like her sister was there, her two best friends were there. Not her sister, her mother was there, her two best friends were there, and she just kind of like, she seemed as though she just wasn't, you know, she wasn't like into it, like even into, you know, the conversations that were happening, the way they were trying to like compliment, like she wasn't like engaged in any of it at all. So like, was that just like nerves, or just because she just felt like very much disengaged, right? Like the cameras were there, she still had a decision to make, and like, you know, you had all these people like talking like, this is gonna be great, it's your wedding day, you look so beautiful, da 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 da, he's a great guy, like whatever. I guess maybe she was just like tuning into her own thoughts and make sure that she's making a decision that's like very cohesive. But like in that moment, it didn't feel like she really wanted those people around. It didn't really feel like she was present with like the people and the support that was being given to her. But like, comment down below, let me know if you guys, you know, noticed that. Again, I believe it's just nerves, because she ultimately ended up saying no. And when she said no, she brought up like the whole thing of like, oh, you know, there was money that was given for the wedding, like one of the friends or something on Devin's side of the family that gave some money. Devin never mentioned it. So she was like, okay, like what's going on? Like, how we gonna start this, like, how we gonna start our union, and there's like, you're not being transparent around like, you know, finances. Like it just became a little bit more like icky. And so she, you know, she said no. I'm talking about Devin wept. Jesus wept, Devin wept on my screen. I was like, dang, like they seem to be there, but like the closer the weddings came about, it became clear that maybe Devin was a little too conservative for whatchamacallit, for Virginia, right? Like Virginia was talking about like, yeah, I vote from a place of, you know, my faith, and I believe women's right to have autonomy over their bodies, to have a choice over their bodies. I support the LGBTQ community, marrying whoever they want to. Like, I'm just like, I don't believe in, you know, the government imposing itself on people's bodies and the choices that they have. And so you had Devin, who sort of kind of like maybe like disagreed, but didn't really say much. And so I think Virginia was just kind of like, okay, these days, to be conservative is not what it used to be in the past, right? Like to be conservative these days really means like you ride and you go together real bad with like y'all's current president. And that's not something that somebody, a woman right now, that's not something that you should take lightly. Because when a man aligns himself with too many conservative values right now in this current state of affairs, it means like you are over here aligning yourself with y'all's current president, because I don't claim that as my own. Like you are aligning yourself with y'all's current president, and that can be dangerous. So I agree. If she felt like, okay, this man may be, you know, playing for the other team, I agree. I support wholeheartedly her decision to be like, yeah, no, I like him, he's cute, we're cute together, but like, how you vote these days tells me about how you view women. It tells me about how you view the community around you. It tells me about how compassionate you really are. It even just tells me whether or not you are easily influenced by like propaganda and just like lies, right? Like tactics of lies and division, right? Like how you vote these days and how you voted in the last whatchamacallit, 3 presidential elections, it says a lot. So for her to use that as a reason why, like, yeah, we cannot be together, fully agree. Because it matters. That's how you end up with the likes of Ben and Sarah. It matters. Your beliefs and your values overall, it matters. it don't mean we got to agree on everything. Like, it don't mean that, right? Like, we can disagree on, like, you know, I don't know, we can disagree on, like, tax laws, or we can disagree on, like, different things, but, like, when it comes to human beings and their rights to be and their rights to exist, and, like, you know, the war against the poor, we need to be able to come together and agree on those things. So if that was, like, the real reason why she was like, yeah, no, fully support it. Comment down below and let me know. The only wedding we had was between Daniel and Taylor, and the two of them come together in holy matrimony. They done wed and they done said yes. It was beautiful. Everything was great. So now we get to the reunion. Comment down below, how did you guys feel about the reunion? Because to me, it gave the sum total of nothing and a half. Nothing and a half. So we started with the newlyweds. They're together. You know, I think his mom has like a health scare with, like, you know, cancer and stuff. My prayers goes out to you, and I hope your mom feels, you know, feels better. I hope you guys have all the support that you need to be able to, like, you know, do the things. So the two of them are doing well. You know, I feel like this is going to be one of those couples that kind of, like, you know, they see each other, like, long term. And apparently the whole follow, you know, he followed me and unfollowed me. It wasn't a big deal because I guess it never happened. Maybe it just was in her imagination. Nonetheless, they're doing well. So then we get to, what's her name? We get to Joey and Monica. Come to find out that Joey the whole time, once he done seen Madison, decided to go ahead and start hitting on Madison, and then gonna act like, you know, Monica was crazy to ask questions about it. I'm like, Joey, even you, what was it, the socks? Was the socks the problem? Like, what was going on? It just was, like, really weird. And so Madison was like, yeah, no. This baby gonna lie to Monica, talk about how, oh, Madison went, you know, and hit on him. And Madison was like, girl, I never did that. Like, I never hit on nobody. Like, he never gave that. And so, by the way, Monica looked really like, oh my gosh, like, whoever did her makeup, her hair, she looked just like, very beautiful, very, very gorgeous. And so the whole time, kind of find out that Joey was actually just like a lying piece of shit. Netflix, where did y'all gather this group of men? You had the marketable tomato Dave. You had, I will not enunciate, Mason. You had Alex, who kind of find out this baby has done some things to the children of God. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, no. Where, Netflix, where y'all finding these people? You have Ben, who don't even know what Black Lives Matter is. And then you had Joey that was sitting over here, you were skating, you were doing Joey. Where did y'all find these people? Where? And then you had Devin, who was, addicted to ibuprofen, and then he don't want the women of God to have a choice about their bodies, like, very ambiguous. Like, where did y'all find all these men? Like, the whole season gave nothing and a half. Kind of find out Joey, like, Joey. No wonder Monica's bitter leaf sister did not like you. Kind of find out bitter leaf Monica's sister, she actually saw something that we didn't see. Joey. Monica looked beautiful, and he was trying to gaslight her, talk about how, you know, Madison hit on me, this, that, and the third. And so she found Madison one time. She was like, Madison, did you hit on Joey? And Madison was like, me, hit on Joey. This one, Joey. This golden retriever, Joey, like, no, me, I didn't do anything like that. And so this baby was like, oh, no, I didn't say that. He started to lie, y'all. He started to lie. Monica was like, looking back at the show, I felt embarrassed because, like, it was clear as day that this man was not into me at all. And I'm just kind of like, dang, like, how I missed that? Because maybe he just was edited right. But, like, again, like I said, the two of them, they always gave friendship to me. And I thought that just was a healthy thing to have, right? Like, we need to be able to cohabitate. We need to be able to have fun together and be, like, very friendly towards each other. I assumed that they also had that component of, like, attraction. I assumed they were sleeping together. I assumed that they had, like, you know, that little physical connection going on until maybe towards, like, the end, where she was like, you know, I want a little bit more touch. And he was like, you know, I'm working on it. So I was like, okay, maybe he's not a PDA, maybe he's not like a touchy-feely type kind of a person, because I too am not. Like my husband very much is like, you know, we want to share the same skin, but like that's something that I had to grow into. Like I've never been like a physical, you know, like I've never been like that's really never been me. And I think maybe like, you know, growing up in an African household, like as a girl, like go to school, fear the Lord, that's it. So even developing like that sense of touch and wanting to be touched and learning how to touch people, I knew like I had to learn that, and now like I love it. So when she said that, I didn't fault Joey for it, because I was like, yeah, I could see that. Maybe you just kind of like, you know, you want to grow into it. And maybe it's also TV. Like you don't want to seem a little awkward. You don't want to seem a little, you know, too touchy to the point where like it's concerned. Like you don't want to do that. So I offered him grace for that reason. But I didn't know that looking back for her, it really gave like, yeah, this man wasn't into me at all. I didn't pick it up. Comment down below and let me know if you did. But like the two of them, it just wasn't giving. And you had Joey over here like stammering like, and I was just kind of like, get these people off my screen. Then you had Mason, Alex, and Sushi on the floor, type kind of sexy girl Meg. They all sat on one side. And why Meg was out here defending, I'm talking about defending Mason. Defending Mason the whole time, talk about how Madison, you know, was rude to Mason and all that things. I'm like, girl, your anger is misplaced. You low-key are mad at Madison because Madison was the other woman that stood in the way of this Mason guy initially picking you. That's the real reason why you have so much smoke for Madison. Let's keep it a buck. Because that girl has apologized, like, you know what, you're right. I shouldn't have spoken for you when I went in the, in the path, and I was like, you know, the other girl, she's very much into you. You'll eat for her. I have my other connection, this, that, and the third. She was like, I was out of pocket for speaking, you know, to you in that sense, for sure. But like the smoke that you have for Madison, very much misplaced. Madison didn't do nothing to you. Mason did. But like the universe hasn't told you enough about you aligning your own spine and loving your own self and doing yoga outside barefoot. Like you haven't learned that, so much so that you are still a pick Misha, willing to be picked by men at all costs. Because you said that defending Mason, who don't even want to enunciate the words coming out of his mouth. Gonna talk about how like, oh, Madison that manipulated him into picking her. On what grounds? Walk me through the logic of that. Oh, Mason gonna be like, well, I was under the impression that Madison was really into me because she said, you know, I hope your other dates go wrong, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, okay, if the words of Madison were able to influence Mason to commit to Madison, then walk me through why your words were not able to influence Mason to commit to you, Meg. Because you were in the past talking about, oh, I miss you. You are it for me. I see the chemistry. We should go on the floor when we move in and order sushi and have sex on the floor. You said that. You did. So if this is a man that's going to be manipulated by the words coming from a woman's mouth, then how come your words, Meg, how come your words did not manipulate him into committing to you? Because Mason is so easily manipulated. It's so easy. Like if a woman says, I like you, he feels forced to say it back. Which again, she never said. Madison never said that. She dated both of them, had connections with both of them, like all the other people who had connections. But somehow, as a society, we have a problem with women having a voice and having a say in a relationship. We have a problem with that. You wanted her to be in the same desperate situation like you were in. But because she wasn't, she actually had options. And I still maintain, I don't care what anybody say, I still maintain, Madison, part of the reason why she was like, you know what, I actually feel like my connection with Alex is better, was like, I'm not catching this here with you. And I know for a fact that the other girl, you, Meg, you will probably have a better connection with Mason. And I already know I'm feeling something deeper. Although it may have been like neck and neck, Alex always was right here for me. And because I also know Megan, that's going to be sitting over here and defend Mason, who don't want to enunciate on the words that's coming out of his mouth. Because I knew that you have a connection with him as well, what are we doing here? It's best I go pursue my Alex, you go ahead and pursue Meg. If anything, to me, it always landed like that girl was trying to like, okay, let me remove myself. Even though I've had this connection with him, Alex is better. Let me remove myself so that the two of them can come together. Why do you have smoke for her? Why do you have smoke for her? Oh, you manipulated Mason. How? Mason gonna be like, oh, because I was under the impression that, you know, she liked me too. Okay. You were also under the impression that Meg liked you, because Meg would be like, oh, I miss you. You are it for me. You told Meg like, oh, no, you know, I live here confused. And then later on you were like, oh, I actually live here with clarity. Should we count that as manipulation too? Because we're going to talk about, oh, like she was two different people, she was two like, no. No. And she said that dick riding. I'm talking about dick riding for Mason. Whole time, she and Mason, they're no longer even together. Meg at your big age. At your big age, Meg, spiritual Meg. At your big spiritual age, Meg, you are sitting defending a man who didn't pick you in the past, not once, but twice. But even outside of the past, still didn't pick you. But you are sitting here, you are defending. Meg. And so you had Alex who be lying. And then Madison came, talk about she has some receipts. Now Madison, girl, the receipt, it wasn't printed right. It gave us a concept of who Alex was, but it didn't really give us the whole truth. Right? I believe Madison. Alex was lying the whole time. The whole time. But Meg, you want to be picked so bad. We've already found out that Alex is a weirdo. All this year, people have revealed some things on TikTok. Watch the story time with Ricky. Somebody had left it in my comments and I went and I watched. And some of the things that's come out about Alex, it's not giving. It's really not giving. It aligns with what Madison was talking about. This baby was lying. In the text, was busy over here talking about the people of God, talking about Mason, talking crap about them, but he gonna sit there and Meg, you gonna defend him like Boo Boo the Fool, you gonna defend him. Nothing and a half. Nothing and a half. I don't care what nobody say. I don't see. I will give you Madison again. Emotional dumper, sure. But to the point of like, oh, she was a different person between Alex and Mason, I agree. Mason brought out a little bit more fun up out of her. While Mr. Alex, who is committed to trauma, who quote unquote said, I enjoy the drama. Let's talk about some deep stuff. He brought that side out of Madison, for sure. But like, it doesn't mean like this girl lacked the nuance of being both at the same time. She wasn't pretending to be one person and then pretending to be another person. No. This guy, I got a little bit more deepness with this guy. Mason, he cannot even enunciate his words. It was light, it was fun. We're talking about, you know, him being a photographer, videographer, whatever he was. Like, he was very much like, you know, we're playing golf, you know, we're going to be twerking. It had a fun energy. People are allowed to have that duality. So for you guys to hold her to the fire for being a little bit more deeper with one person and being a little bit more light and fun with the other, that is so unfair. That is so unfair to do with a woman. Because if you think about even your own self, right? When you at your job, you probably are more serious. There's a side of you that you show to your job that you don't show when you are out of your job with your homegirl, with your family, even with your partner. It doesn't mean that at your job you're being fake or that at your home you're being real. No. Duality. You get to be all of those things. There are times when my friends, we're going to be really deep and talk about all these like traumas and all the things. But then there are times when we're not talking about that. We just like hee hee, ha ha. I have friendship where it's like, you know, a little good time, a little hee hee, a little ha ha. Then I have friendship that's a little bit more deeply rooted. Where a little bit more of that softer and that vulnerable side of me going to come out. Does that mean the fun me no longer is practical? No. In this video, there's been times where I've been serious and there's been times where I'm just kind of like, you know, talking nonsensical. Both of those sides are me. I'm not pretending to be one person and not the other. So the whole thing that Alex was standing on and then being backed by Mason and Meg, who's spiritually not sound enough to align her spine and decide to pick herself and go ahead and do yoga outside barefoot, that whole stance, it don't make no sense. People are allowed to exist in their full self. So I don't care what nobody says. Madison has been manipulative. I'm not saying that. I'll even go as far as saying like the only girl who knew herself and who was able to stand half the time was Madison. I'm sorry. Y'all may disagree with that, but it was Madison. And Netflix, this is the last time. Okay, this is the last time you're gonna put me in a situation to be sitting over here and getting my analyst kidding on and defending wild women's. This gonna be the last time. Get me a better cast next time. And then you have Virginia and whatchamacallit, Devin. And then, you know, Virginia gonna talk about how, like, you know, she found a no from the ex. And it just was like, she had a whole lot of doubts that it really wasn't giving. Devin really didn't rebuttal much. I don't care about them together. Just like, get off my screen. Like, I don't even care about them together. Virginia, you gorgeous. Get you a man of your caliber. What's her name? AD. Shout out to AD. AD is now engaged to, whatchamacallit, Ollie from UK, Juget. Together, they've come together. Shout out to AD. My sister, I hope this is real. I hope this is legit. I hope Ali not trying to, you know, pull a low 1, 2, 1, 3 on you. I hope that's not that. I hope this man is serious about you because you deserve your happy ending. You deserve to find you somebody that has him a backbone, right? Unlike Clay, okay, whose daddy was a cheater, right? Who cheated on his mama all his life. Unlike all that mess that you went through, I hope this goes well. I hope, you know, I'm going to get my flower girl on. Congratulations to you. But like, Virginia, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right. Let Devin find somebody else to go with. It really wasn't giving. And honestly, I don't care enough, right? And so the last thing that I wanted to talk about, tying it to the point that I made earlier, you had Dave and what's his name? Dave and Lauren. Or before I even say that, Ben and Sarah, same thing. Ben was still stammering. Sarah was talking about how like he ain't really had all the backbones when it came to like social justice. I also don't care about that. But you had Dave and Lauren, and Dave still no accountability, no real truth. This baby's still lying. He gonna come out and say like, oh, I just recently found out that the other guy was trying to like milk this whole thing. Now, mind you, the whole time, we are yet to see the sister. We are yet to see the friends. We are yet to see anything that pertains to this guy. So from where I'm standing, he never wanted to be with Lauren. He never really wanted to do nothing with Lauren. He just wanted to come on my screen, waste my time and my energy, and disrespect the woman that he decided to go ahead and pretend to fall in love with blindly on my screen. As far as I'm concerned, that's all that was. But here comes the act. Here comes the pretending, oh, it was really hard to watch. What was hard to watch? For you. And so you had Lauren on the other side talk about how, oh, you know, people are saying like he a gaslighter or he a manipulator, and I don't agree. I don't think you were manipulating me or gaslighting me or being a narcissist towards me or whatever. And I'm like, pause. I understand that it might be hard to acknowledge that Dave is a manipulator and a narcissist, because by admitting that, then you have to also admit that you, Lauren, you are easy to manipulate and are easy to narcissist. You're easy to narcissistate. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, right? But like admitting that he is all these things, you will also then have to admit that you fell for this. And that you were easy to fall for this. And that can be uncomfortable, but that doesn't negate the truth of what it was. This man was manipulating you the whole time. This whole, you slept with somebody and this, it was not the real reason. The real reason was the fact that he didn't want to be with you. And I'm not sure if, you know, the host, because, you know, sometimes I don't even be paying them no mind because they don't be asking no real questions. But like even the host, I think one of them had said like, do you think your leg was already half out and you use this as an excuse to go ahead and come out? That's manipulation. For somebody to beat you up slowly but surely, have you question your own sanity. That's manipulation. We can call a spade a spade. He was. He was a narcissist. To have him hold you to the fire for the very same thing that he be doing, that's manipulative. You know what narcissists do? They beat you down slowly but surely. They gaslight you slowly but surely. They are never wrong. There are examples of him never being wrong. Every time you try to say something, he would try to backslide and backflip. Everybody was a problem. Your daddy was a problem. You was a problem. Your coochie was a problem. The guy that you slept with and had an entanglement with, that was the problem. It was never Dave. That's manipulative. That's what that is. And I know it's uncomfortable to admit that, because admitting that, you would have to admit that you were the person manipulated. But don't sit over here and question my intelligence. Okay? Because you ain't questioned nothing. All throughout this season, you ain't really questioned much. So do not get on this here reunion and try to question me and the people of God. Alright? Beautiful gowns. All the girlies looked amazing. The dudes all across the board, trash. Immediately trash. I'm going to remove Daniel there for a little bit, but like all across the board trash. So don't do that. But that's it on me, you guys. Comment down below, let me know, what do you guys think? Was this a show that you necessarily want to watch again? Like, Love is Blind, if y'all don't stop, this might be my last one, right? Like, I'm just getting tired of Love is Blind altogether. Y'all are pissing me off. So unless something interesting happens, I don't know. Comment down below and let me know, how did you guys like, you know, the episodes that we discussed? How did you guys like the reunion? Do all of the things, and please be sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you always know when I upload. And I'm gonna go ahead and see you guys on the next one. Bye, Z.